anything, I just want to thank Wizards of the Coast for sponsoring this video. I am dubbing the audio over the first recording because my microphone got unplugged. So I'm just going to kind of narrate this so you guys have more to listen to than just the in-game audio. So I'm just showing you the deck here. This is not my design, but I did take someone else's design for this idea and changed it a little bit. I added Once Upon a Time and changed a few of the other cards. I added Castle Locthwain, and we're going into the first game here. But I'm not really taking credit for this deck design. I don't think I changed it enough to really change the spirit of what the deck's trying to do. But it is a sort of somewhere in the middle of aggro and mid-range, in my opinion. Okay, I probably will keep this hand. I'm not very aggressive on my mulligans, and just really hope to hit that blue mana soon. Yeah, let's see. Hovering over the keep. Yeah. So this is from the Throne of Eldraine pre-release event, if you're watching this at another time. And I do have some giveaway codes that I'm going to put in the description of this video. So anytime after September 26th, which is Thursday this week, you'll be able to use these codes to get free wild cards, I believe, with after the Throne of Eldraine release. So I'm going to put codes in all my videos, but I'm not always going to mention it in the video. So you'll just have to look for in the description of my other Throne of Eldraine release videos and try those codes out. I do have like 20 codes to give out though. Okay, so we start with Golden Goose. Opponent looks like they're playing Grixis and just starting to build their hand up in the beginning. Shocks the Goose, which makes sense since it's basically a flying Llanowar elf. I really like the low curve of this deck.
Open your heart to the
this is really cool. So you can turn the food into a creature, and it's already in play, so it's not summoning sick.
Dear.
So we just go right in on turn 3 and put pressure on the opponent early in the game. All right, and he can already, so it looks like we're going to go Woodland Champion into Lovestruck Beast Adventure so that I can get the token going. But I bet I actually would see Murderous Rider, now, and take out the Cackling Drake before it gets big and messes with my Oko. And then we'll probably just make the 1/1 token, and I bet next turn we're going to make this a 3/3. Even though I'm saying this like I don't know, it's because I pretty much don't. I didn't get any sleep on the day that I did this release event, and so it's like I have no memory. All right. Opponent plays the Pyromancer. This is a really cool card. So every time he draws his second card like he just did there, he gets 3 damage and takes out my elk, which is like the perfect amount of damage to kill my elk there. One thing that's really cool that I don't know if I realized was Dreadhorde Invasion makes a 0/0 token that has +1/+1 counters. So when you turn those tokens into elks, they are 4/4 creatures. So we trade the opponent. I'll take his Pyromancer and he can have a food. And then, Dreadhorde Invasion. This will get our Woodland Champion going. Plink. So I will also add extra sound effects on top of the game sound for you. Second Cackling Drake for the opponent. I didn't realize that my portrait covers the opponent's names. I ended up playing against some other channels that I big fans of. So not in this game, but definitely check out my Boros Knights deck. And let's see what else. I also play one game with Simic Flash against Gabriel Nassif. And then I went to his channel, and I don't think he was reading his chat because I was just trying to give him some GGs. Oh, actually, so next turn, that would be a 5/5 creature with the...
I think a little merriment is in order.
I think the big weakness of this deck is board wipes, though. It does really slow you down. It doesn't totally shut you down, but like you go from, you know, this deck has the ability, this board state has the ability to come in for 5, 6, 7, 8 damage, and if you draw an extra card, you know, 11 damage next turn, and you could reset that all the way down to 0 and then 1 with that board wipe. And Lava Coil is a thing, so. So I think I shouldn't have done it this way because it's easy to get these two food tokens mixed up, but I did pay attention to which one it was, and they were nice enough to use different art.
Let's broaden your existence.
And I was like really excited to like have food token attack my opponent. Or at least it's an elk, but the picture is food, so it is pretty cool to watch him scoop to a bunch of gourds. And I think he scoops early. I was really looking forward to like punching him with a golden goose.
It seems we've encountered another puzzle.
Yeah, I think I turned the goose into a 3/3 and he scoops next turn. And I said something like, I don't think there's a 3-mana spell that can save you. Yeah, and he scoops it up. So we got one in the bag. 1-0. I know that we don't get a perfect record with this deck, so. And I have a second video using this deck as well. I think I did a couple more games, and then I ran into somebody else I think I knew, a streamer, and or I was really tired, I can't remember, and then I called it a night. Oh, I could move my cursor off the thing though. So we'll definitely keep this first turn Duress. And what stinks is I'm pretty sure this is the game I lose, and these are the only 3 lands that I'm going to see this game. So I seem to like this hand, and then I do not like my next 10 draws. So graveyard deck, pretty hard to beat best of 1, pretty easy to beat best of 3. So I'm basically having to read this text because I haven't really been paying attention to some of these cards. If you're watching this, you probably knew more about the set release than I did when I was brought into this event. I don't come up with my deck ideas like weeks in advance or anything like that. I play the game to have fun. When I first got Arena, I did make Mythic in, I think, 3 or 4 days with just red deck aggro. It's not very fun to do it that way, but I did know that just given how long the games are, that would be the best way to rank up. So I was like really into it for 3 days, but and it just seems like too much of a grind now, though. There's Emery, and I'm still in those 3 lands. But I think like right now, there aren't really missed land drops aren't really a thing. My best bet probably now that I know it would be to Assassin's Trophy my own food. And like hope to get some better draws. Emery dodges Legion's End. And then he's got all these gargoyles. I think I'm too worried about those. Alright. The Beast. See, this is where the not having enough mana is really pinching me. Like, I think the best play is... It's tough because that Emery is just going to run me over if I don't get rid of it. I think the best play is to do 2 Assassins. Like, see, I need that food to kill Emery. Like, I just really needed to hit a land drop here. I don't know. Like, I think you sack the food and then you end up Assassin's Trophying your own Goose. For for another land. That might have been the only thing I could do to stay in the game. Yeah, like playing the Beast. I think he just Murderous Rider. I knew he had Murderous Rider, so he could just easily take that out. And I'm just looking at this board, and I'm like, how do I get through this when I know he's got the removal spell? All my creatures are pretty weak. I'm losing life every turn. He really doesn't have to hit me very hard to make this game a big loss. So I'm sitting here like just trying to figure it out. And I'm not as big of a fan of Assassin's Trophy as most people are anyway. Green's probably, I don't know, or Legion's End, or either for that matter. I think this deck probably should run 2 Legion's End and not 3. I like the cauldron animation there. So I think here's where he turns the game around. I think I've missed 2 land drops now. So we've drawn 5 or 6 cards in a row with no land. And even the cards I have drawn don't seem to be very impactful on the board. Like, if the deck doesn't draw an Oko or a Woodland Champion, it just doesn't get a lot of power on the board. It's just so easy for him to get rid of that 1 token. He's got a flying 5/6 now. I can like Legion's End stuff that doesn't matter. Like if this was cast down, it changes the game quite a bit. Cry the Canarium even maybe is decent. I don't know. Because he's going to hit me now, and I can block once with the Goose. What I should do, I think, is hold up Assassin's Trophy, jump the dragon, get my land, I don't know. I think it's lost at this point, really. I think I do get the lifelink once. But he actually has more life than me now. I almost want to play it at double speed. I always watch, so when you're watching YouTube videos of Magic, playing it at double speed a lot of times is just fine. Since you're not doing most of the math and the thinking, double speed sounds fine. I already have a deep voice, so maybe that just brings me up to something normal. But for those of you who are watching this double speed, I see you. Alright. Opponent has to think a lot. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that treachery. I just don't have the right tools to deal with this board. I also didn't know that the goose could lay eggs, which would have helped me a lot. I don't know if I ever had the mana available to make some eggs, but that would have helped me a little bit. In a pinch, you can stay alive a little bit, and I think I just chump with the goose, which is super dumb. That goose was my salvation. So what I could have done instead was come in for 7, make an egg. He's there. He's way too late on that. We can swing for 7 and 5, I guess. But then I really leave myself open. Double lifelink. Rider comes down, deals with it. That Murderous Rider waiting until I got lifelink was really stung. So I'm just like looking at this board, like that was dumb too. Because now 5 damage puts me at 4, and then the 2 hits from Dreadhorde would put me at 2. There's just more power on the board right now than... So, like, if he swings with everything, I go down to 1. And I have to double chump. Like, there's no card that I can draw that would bring me back from 1. And if he bounces something with a borrower, then... In fact, he might have been better off even with the Agent of Treachery if he left it on my side of the board. What good is a 3/3 going to do me? And 1 less life. So, because he could have stolen my goose. So yeah, this is where I'm like, yeah, there's really no way to deal with this. Then I block it the worst way possible. Yeah. So, kind of bummed about that one. It's always fun watching me just lose a game, and it's like I already know what's going to happen there. It's the client was super glitchy about this, and it just kept. I don't know what it was going on there. All right. Probably keep this too. Duress into Woodland Champion. And see where the deck takes us from there. But what was messed up is that was a 3-land hand I took last game. And I never drew another land the whole game. And like it really it really bit me because a lot of times I would have like 1 mana left over, 2 mana left over. Like, you know, you want to be able to do things like make eggs with your goose and you know, there's 4 mana spells in the deck, and yeah, I have no idea what to take in this situation here. I guess like just want to get his counter spells to not work so great, and then he's got this. I'm like, what are you gonna counter that's in my hand right now? I can get the Woodland Champion out first before he actually. So I was like, well, I definitely want my Woodland Champion to be not a 1/1, and I want you to have to deal with the Woodland Champion with your spells, so you'll have to waste your counter spells on that, or you'll have to sit there and wait. So I don't think it's just, I just saw he doesn't have the Essence Scatter, doesn't have the blue mana for Essence Scatter. So we get the Woodland Champion in underneath his counter spells here. And then we're basically off here. Like, we can just play a land and say go. Let me see. Yeah, he also can't counter the 1/1 token. So I can bring that in and make my creature a 3/3. So we're going to do that. And then we have 4 power on the board. So he can't just sit there and wait for counter spells. He either has to answer something. Yeah, he's got to answer something. So I don't know what he drew, but I'm playing around Brineborn Cutthroat a little bit. There's not a lot of 2-drops in those colors that can deal with a 3/3, but anything with 2 toughness is in a little bit of danger coming down. You can tell I'm like looking super tired. He did have the Cutthroat, so he was probably thinking he could block my 2/2, trade if he wanted to. Or he could just make his bigger than mine. So I know he's got counters, he's holding it up. I don't think I want to play the Beast into the counter spell, or maybe I do, and then I just wreck it with Legion's End. Yeah, so we give him something to counter. Now my creature's going to be a 4/4, and he probably doesn't want to trade it with the Noble. So, and then if he does play something to grow his Cutthroat, we can Legion's End. So now we have 2 5/5s just waiting to come down and trying to deal with his Nopes. Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out if I Assassin's Trophy that and then let him counter it, and then I try to Legion's End next turn, or if I just keep swinging. Because basically, if all he has is counter spells, he can't really grow that guy quick enough. So I think he needed to draw probably the Wolf that turn. And then at the end of his turn, I could have Assassin's Trophied the Wolf. So that was 3 games. I think I only played the 3 games with this deck, so I'm going to stop the video. Thanks for guys for watching. Be sure to check out my other videos with the other decks that we play with this. I am just